just want to continue talking about computers. I really do find computers very fascinating because I've spent so much of my life hunched in front of a computer screen, turning my eyes myopic, destroying my lower back, trying to peer out into the world. Flying around in like digital spirit form. I fucking love computers. But it is time, it really is time for computers to, I shouldn't say computers, for operating systems to leap forward and start taking better advantage of the incredible processing power, the resources that are available for so cheap on machines. Not due to bloat code, shit code for spying on you and advertising to you, shit code for cloud bullshit storage or whatever. What's the name of that guy? There was what was it called? Xanadu. This proposed system called Xanadu. I forgot the name of the guy who was its proponent, but I think it was proposed back in the 70s, 60s and 70s maybe. The guy who proposed it was the guy who coined the term hyperlink. And he imagined an operating system based on non-hierarchical data connections. That is, two-way links between informational objects. And this wouldn't be limited to the local computer, but also would reach out across a sort of nascent internet idea he came up with at the time. And then different documents and pieces of media could be monetized in a way that was native to the system and not some awkward overlay on top of it using horrible atrocities of scripting languages and database bullshittery, inane security protocols. And I think this is a very good idea. I think this is a very cool idea. I really do. I've been waiting for a long time for some sort of operating system, some sort of GUI to interact with my computer where I could like fly around in a 3D environment and look at my files and look at my directories.
We didn't ask for your support. We'd have to
Fuck!
4 minutes of commercials an hour, and that would make you want to tune out. It'd make me want to tune out. So wouldn't you rather just support some FM and keep commercials?
I'm gonna cut this part out.
On the air? We're hoping you will.
Where was I? Where was I? Yeah. Operating system GUIs like Windows. Or like, what is the Macintosh one? I don't give a fuck. Fuck Apple. Or like on Linux, XFCE or DWM. Or KDE or GNOME. That sort of thing. Windowed interfaces. are played out. Our graphical processing power of even, embedded GPUs is enough to go ahead and make fully 3D user interfaces with the computer. And as I started to say, I envision flying the different objects in my computer, I guess with a VR headset on, and touching them, opening them up with hand gestures, flying into directories and having them customized with like skyboxes. So my directory all about that contains like PDFs, that contains ebooks, like EPUB documents, stuff like that, raw text files. You could have the skybox make it look like you're inside this giant like MC Escher library. You could warp in there and warp out of there and stuff like that. If you want a terminal, if you want a shell, you could just like do a hand motion with your hand. You'd have sort of like a glove on that would record your hand movements, like a special motion with your hand, and you could poke at the ether and drag a terminal open, and it would be like a 2D plane in 3D space, and you could click into it, start typing on a keyboard that gets pulled up. I mean, this idea is not anything special. In the 1990s, in all those old cyberpunk movies, it was assumed that this would be what we get. And it makes so much sense, especially when you look at something like 3D modeling, computer-aided design and drafting, stuff like that, where you're working with 3D objects. Why the hell, when you could do it in a fully 3D environment in which you perceive things as 3D, why would you do it in this horrible 2D desktop environment? It's atrocious. It would be so much easier if you could leap into a 3D environment and start molding meshes with your hands as you mold clay. And the software automatically creates new vertices as needed. We already have the algorithms for this. Why don't we have it yet? I guess if I'm complaining, I should be trying to code it, right? I don't think my skills are quite up to snuff yet. It would be so cool, though. And people will say metaverse this, metaverse woo, metaverse. Well, the metaverse is Mr. Slave Master, what's his fucking face? Zuckerberg. Little douche face Zuckerberg trying to herd the cattle into his milking pens. That's what the metaverse is. It's Mark Zuckerberg's little milking pens where it'll hook you up to a milking machine and suck out your money and suck out your soul and take your time. The metaverse doesn't look cool. It looks like obligation. It looks like posing. It looks, frankly, like a milking machine. It's not good. But in the future, a fully 3D operating system where instead of opening a web browser, you walk through a portal and then you're out on the internet. And a search engine you put in a search term and a hallway full of doors pops up. And you can walk through a door to one of your search results. And you can fly around that website. Realized in full 3D. That would be so cool. So many of the paradigms which have become ubiquitous in operating systems are based on the entrenched obsession with paper, hard copies. The Xerox Alto, the first production computer focused all around really raster graphics, windowed operating, was all about. Its main advertising thing was, what you see is what you get. You got that beautiful memo written up on your Alto? Well, you just hit the print button and you'll get a piece of paper that looks exactly like it. The screen of the Alto was specifically dimensioned to replicate an 8.5 by 12, whatever it is, piece of paper. And that's the great granddaddy of all these desktops which we enjoy today. Desktop. Why is a computer confined to the dreariness of business in an office? It's so dreary. It's so gray. I'm sick of it. Escape the confines of this of meat space and embrace the infinite possibilities of Turing complete machines. Anything is possible, pretty much. Pretty much anything. People are so uncreative. I saw this video on YouTube. Somebody made a quote-unquote 3D operating system, and it really was just like a shitty desktop that was like, you look down and, oh, it looks 3D, kinda. It's like, get away from it. Offices suck. Why would you want to replicate an office in a device which you could use to replicate any environment? You could replicate anything and have it be your playground. Well, I guess I should try to make it. And fail miserably. It would be best to make it so that the first system that was like this was not one owned by a horrible company like Meta and a horrible, rapacious businessman like Mark Zuckerberg with his metaverse. I don't want that to be the thing that entraps all the people, because it's a shitty thing. I just know it's going to be shitty because it's going to be monetized when there really should be an ad hoc free version. There could be an ad hoc free version, but it never seems to win because that view never seems to win. Because the businessmen know how to market. Because they tempt professionals with money. Professionals who make a high quality product and they sell their souls and make something that is a cage for people to put food on their plates. They make a cage for people while the businessman behind it snickers maliciously, and they entrap people. And those same professionals who have sold their souls might on the side work on a noble project, something that's free, something that's ad hoc, but it only ever gets their leftover energies. And that's how things like Windows wins. That's how things like iPhone wins versus the superior alternatives. I mean, Linux is a mess, honestly. The kernel is bloated as hell. There's horrible disastrously complex and unnecessary applications like Systemd, which are omnipresent now on Linux flavors. It's just such a mess. Different competing GUIs and stuff like that. But in the end, it is free, and you can do what you want with it. And you can get a little bit more privacy. And it's just that much easier to do powerful things using your computer. It's just that much easier to set up your Memex exactly how you like it. And not have to deal with persistent annoyances and advertising and spying. This has been a very rambly video, but please forgive me. I'm getting used to recording myself like this. I'm not used to it. And I've listened to some of my previous videos. I'm not quite sure I like how I sound. So I don't know if I'll do many more of these. I'm not sure if I'm offering any new insights to people, or if I'm just feeding my own ego by wasting vapor. I don't know. Maybe people gain something from it. But I guess I'll share some useful things I've learned about computers now, so that you gain some value and it's not me just ranting. Because what do I know in the end? What do I know? What are some useful things I've learned that I can share with you? Well, I already told you some cool tricks about how to watch YouTube without ads, without having to subscribe to YouTube Plus or Red or whatever it's called. Well, on your phone, there's an app called YouTube Advanced, which you can get. And not only does it block ads, it also allows you to play music through YouTube with the screen off. So, the YouTube app, if you don't have a subscription, stops playing audio once you lock your screen. But with YouTube Advanced, it will continue to play, which I found very, very useful. What is some other cool stuff I could share? I use Linux. I use MX Linux as my daily driver operating system because I learned Linux on Antics. Well, I actually started on Ubuntu, but I really got curious and dug into Linux on Antics because it was a very bare bones system, and the lack of clutter made it easy for me to learn how to build my own or customize Linux the way I wanted it. It started with very few things pre-installed, and I learned a lot about configuration. It was very good. That's a good way to start learning Linux, I think. Not with something huge and user-friendly like GNOME, but something just user-friendly enough to get you going like Antics. And then after doing Antics, I installed Gentoo. I succumbed to the meme, and I did install Gentoo and bootstrapped it or whatever all the way up to having a KDE windowed environment. And then I uninstalled that because I just wanted to prove that I could do it, and I did it. I compiled the kernel and all that, and let me tell you, if you really want to spend a significant portion of your time mastering the intricacies of Linux, then Gentoo is good. But if you only want to be a part-time hobbyist, if you only want to be tweaking things really when they break, Gentoo is overkill, in my opinion. But hey, have fun if you want to have fun. I like MX Linux. There's no systemd. It comes with a solid staple of packages. It is stable. It's well maintained. I just like it. What can I say? I like MX Linux. It's good. If you want to get into Linux, get an MX Linux like me. What's some other good stuff? Well, I guess another cool thing I've learned, some other cool software that I use. So the visualization that you're seeing right now is generated using a program called Project M, which is sort of like an audio visualization engine. And you can make custom presets for it and playlists, and like you can play your music and have it in a window and it looks cool. Or you could wire in your mic input to it, like I have, and it reacts to what you say. Although this particular visual doesn't seem to react dramatically to what I say. It's pretty though. I like Project M. There's a cool script called Poor Man's Radio Player that I like to play internet radio. It's easily extensible through editing the script manually. And you can listen, I like to listen to Soma FM through it. That's where the music's coming from. I have PMRP playing Soma FM Drone Zone. I like this program. For text editing, I prefer Vim to Emacs, and due to habit, I still prefer Notepad++ to Vim. You can call me a pleb, but I'm still learning Vim, and I don't have it in the fingers quite yet. I am training myself on it, though. I don't like IDEs. I don't like them. I find them unnecessarily complex. I'd rather write something in a simple text editor, code something in a simple text editor, maybe with syntax highlighting, and compile it separately myself using another command. But IDEs, I've found, unless I'm forced to make a GUI, I don't like them. No thank you. As for web browsing, I like Qt Browser. I use Qt Browser. Spelled Qute browser. It's free software, and it aims to combine it's basically like a modern browser that even can like process WebGL things and all the modern web development gobbledygook, yet it has a minimalist interface and it is focused on keyboard control. It mirrors many Vim shortcuts. You can customize your own macros. For instance, I have it set that when I hit comma, a bunch of hints pop up that let me select a link to a video, and then it will automatically open that link in a program called MPV, which is something else that is good. But yes, I use Qt Browser. I can do everything I want to do with it. It has no issues with any websites, as I have yet encountered, because it uses something called the Qt Web Engine, which basically is Google's Chromium engine stripped of all the Google spyware as much as possible. So Qt Browser is very good. I love it. What is MPV? MPV is a very more lightweight video player than VLC. It's got, again, a minimalistic interface, emphasis on keyboard control, and the cool thing is it's tied to another program called YT-DLP, which not only lets you download YouTube videos, but it lets you download all kinds of embedded videos from websites automatically and simply. It's great. And with MPV, you can do a command to stream from the command line. I like all these things. I use them in my day-to-day. Basic bullshit. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. It's all good stuff. What else is there? LibreOffice instead of Microsoft Office, obviously. Obviously. Yes. Anyway, that's just some useful things. Maybe you would find these tools making your life easier as they've made mine easier. Or maybe you know better ways to do things and you could share them in the comments. But this is how I have done things recently. I'm still learning. By no means am I an expert. Anyway, thanks for listening. Hope this improves your quality of life.